Where am I? Who am I? What's going on here?
Joe had an idea that I actually thought was really fun. You want to tell him, Joe?
Yeah. Thinking maybe we could bomb something?
Oh, sorry, Mr. President. We're gonna need to hang back here for a tick.
Sound good.
Who's that guy?
Oh, jeez.
Alright,
Yeah.
I'm ready. Let's do this. Put me in, Joe.
When you look at it from that perspective, things actually start to make sense. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Lugradowski of WeAreChange.org. Lots of utter absurd news right now, especially with many people and institutions trying to scrub information away from you. Don't worry, we got that. Plus, a lot of very interesting questions surrounding what did the FBI actually know here. And we're going to get into that, plus a lot more, all on this independent media organization. But before we do, the small visceral clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was by a Post America. The full link to the video is in the description below. I was just introduced to this creator, and I think they're definitely putting out some interesting stuff, which is pretty good. So yeah, after this video, check them out. Some would say the videos are bizarre, but I would say our society is bizarre, especially with the latest news that we're getting. That Kamala Harris will be doing a special event, a one-on-one with Mr. Bill Clinton. Yes, I kid you not, on empowering women and girls in the United States. Yes, the same Bill Clinton with extensive ties to individuals like Mr. Epstein, and also Kamala Harris here, which looks like she was pictured next to Ghislaine Maxwell, leaving many people, including myself, asking, was Mr. Epstein not available for this meeting? Since, of course, both participants, especially Bill Clinton, has an absolutely horrid record of what they did to women. Yes, the same Bill Clinton that ditched Secret Service in order to fly on Mr. Epstein's private plane, who is now being noted as a, quote, champion of women and girls, which is leaving a lot of people like Virginia Giuffre asking and saying, what? So yeah, as that's happening, and people are responding with their favorite gifs of Mr. Bill Clinton. In other very interesting news, we have the German Chancellor Angela Merkel and canceling the 5-day ultra-strict draconian lockdowns that she set forward for Germany for the next 5 days. This is, of course, a story we talked about in full detail yesterday, talking about how ridiculous, insane this move was, as well as the moves made by other countries in the world that are imposing the strictest of lockdowns. And now, Angela Merkel, the German chancellor, agrees with me, and she canceled this 5-day ultra-strict lockdown, apologized, and said that she takes full personal responsibility for all the backlash and anger the German people are feeling towards the government. Now, as one country takes a step back from being a fully draconian, technocratic nightmare state, another state, the United States, is moving forward with it, as of course Joe Biden and many other establishment figures are using a tragedy that unfolded in Colorado recently in order to push for more power and control for themselves. This, of course, as the U.S. intelligentsia keeps moving closer and closer to making any form of dissent illegal, as they are becoming closer to ruling people extremists for not believing in the current prevailing ruling class and system of government that has ever routinely failed them. All of this is also happening with a very coordinated mainstream media narrative that was running a few days ago that was absolutely identical, pushing a narrative that of course works right into the hands of a lot of these greedy politicians that are not even waiting for the bodies to be cold in order to try to benefit from this situation politically. An event, by the way, which we have a lot to talk about in regards to. But before we do that here, as a part of independent media, we believe that people shouldn't be punished for the crimes of others. And if politicians, plutocrats, and establishment elite billionaires want you to be disarmed, they should lead by example and disarm themselves. Since, of course, they're trying to create a society where only the super rich could be able to defend themselves. That's our personal stance and opinion on this issue, and if you like it and want to support it, you can by very easily checking out the companies that we work in partnership with. We have board games, supplements, but one of the companies that I personally like, that I personally use, is Pro One, formerly known as Pro Pure water filters. And if you're not a fan of microplastics, heavy metals, other additives to your water supply, well, you should definitely get yourself a water filter. They have a 30-day money-back guarantee, free shipping, and to me, this is a lot better, a lot smarter than literally going to the big supermarkets and picking up bottled of small drinking waters, which are absolutely horrible for you, the environment, and just a big old waste of frickin' time. I'm a lot happier with my water filters. I think you will be too. And if you want them, click the link right now in the description below to find out more information about Pure One. And in doing so, you also support this independent media broadcast, and because you do, thank you so much. Seriously, stay away from the fluoride, microplastics, and all the other heavy metals and all the other crap they put in. I'm gonna stop. Now, something very interesting happened after, of course, the tragic events in Colorado, and that was a lot of social media and mainstream media vultures coming in and literally feasting on this horrible event, trying to push an agenda and a narrative that fell through when the media actually released the name of the suspect that was behind this tragic event in Colorado. A lot of establishment blue check mark media figures in less than 14 hours literally went from he's definitely a white guy to don't say his name, which is absolutely hypocritical and deserves to be called out. Especially with the narrative that some people tried to run with that was absolutely not true, even on its face value. And when you delve into this issue and the larger complexities behind this issue, you delve into an issue that is far more complex than just, of course, blaming it all on white people. I delved into this subject in an uncensored way on lukeuncensored.com. Some people were having problems viewing the video. I do believe we fixed that. I do believe also some people are having problems with the Firefox browser. Use a different browser. The video is up as of right now, lukeuncensored.com, where I delved into 3 important solutions to actually dealing with this larger problem that, of course, you will never hear about in the mainstream media. I can't even talk about it here on this platform. I'm being extremely vague, which I need to. But obviously, a lot of establishment media personalities were absolutely wrong. They generalized this event and provided a huge disservice that never helped anyone, except just hurts more people. A lot of them are scrambling to delete a lot of their tweets, which shows how they were more interested in pushing an agenda rather than, of course, actually care about the event and what happened. And again, very prominent individuals like Kamala Harris's sister, who deleted a tweet that said that, quote, violent white men are the greatest threat to this country. Again, absolutely based on no evidence at all. Sensationalistic garbage that deserves to be called out. Facebook also decided to jump in the scrubbing and deleting of course, this subject's Facebook page, as of course many people were looking at his social media history and discovering of the opposite of the narrative that was being pushed by the establishment that showed a completely different picture. Now, of course, it's also important to note here that it is routine for big social media companies to delete the social media history of a suspect in such a major case, but a lot of people were able to retain information before this Facebook move, which again is still limited, but show a young man who was interested in jiu-jitsu, had several pro-Muslim and pro-refugee posts, he had a tirade against Donald Trump, and considered himself an anti-Islamophobe activist. And when you look at the rampage he went on, he exclusively targeted white hate people. That is just a fact in this case. We're also finding out that this young man was actually born in Syria, migrated to the United States. He was issuing a lot of the mainstream media talking points against Donald Trump. He was talking about racism, and clearly someone who was not doing mentally well. In 2018, he was charged and convicted of a misdemeanor for assault against another student, as fellow classmates recalled him having a fierce temper that would flare in, quote, a response to the slightest setbacks. We're also getting information that he previously threatened other classmates and even threatened to file fake hate crime charges against them after attacking some of them. Now again, we're still finding out a lot of very important information surrounding this event, but I think one of the biggest one is that this man was actually known to the FBI. Yes, according to the New York Times, this 21-year-old was known to the Federal Bureau of Investigations because he was linked to an other individual that was currently under investigation by the FBI. So the FBI knew who he was, and yet again failed to stop this event from unfolding. We're talking about the Federal Bureau of Investigations with the full might and power of the federal government that has the capabilities to spy, track, and database every single human being, that has routinely been asking for powers and been getting them throughout the last few decades in order to stop these events, which they continue to fail to do so. And when you look at some of the previous reporting about this individual's, a lot of the writings were on the wall. He was described as mentally ill, extremely violent, and according to some sources that haven't been corroborated, he potentially could have ties to Syrian rebel groups, which the United States previously financed. And again, this is just some of the preliminary information that we're learning from law enforcement. That again, there's probably a lot more that we don't even know about, and we have to ask ourselves the questions. What was the FBI doing? Were they going after grannies that walked in a federal building by accident and were too busy doing that to actually stop the things that they keep promising to stop but they never do? Again, when you're tracking database and spying on everything and everyone, after you've been giving all of this power that you've been demanding, telling people that will work, that will stop these events from unfolding, and they don't, you really have to ask yourself, what in the world is going on here? There should be a lot more questions that should be demanded to be answered immediately, rather than these events be used as another linchpin to give government more power and authority over you. Before that happens, I don't feel comfortable them getting any more power, any more authority, and no rational thinking American should support them getting any power until they answer these very important, legitimate questions. And again, there's a lot of idiots out there. There's a lot of chatter out there that absolutely makes no sense, just like Michael Moore saying that the life of this individual, quote, shows that people can come from all over the world and truly assemble into our beloved American culture. Again, trying to be sensationalistic on the backdrop of all of this for Instagram likes and to make your little political points here is absolutely mentally defunct, especially in the backdrop of everything we know, everything that Michael Moore's pushing for, and even the understanding of this guy coming from Syria, which again proves his larger point. He's talking about violence being a part of American culture, but his inconceived brain dribble is nonsensical on many key basis, facts, and statistics here that, of course, many people don't want to talk about. They want to talk about empty political slogans and talking points rather than, of course, the actual merits of this case, the facts, the stats, and individuals doing their own critical thinking, asking the hard questions, which, of course, the mainstream media never does. It pushes a narrative, it pushes an agenda that wants to take away from you, while, of course, benefiting the special few that literally want to leave you defenseless. The Biden administration is literally trying to use this event to push in legislation, to push in laws that would allow police officers to break down your door and steal away your ability to defend yourself as a legal, law-abiding citizen. Again, law-abiding citizens follow the rules. Criminals usually don't. The bigger fact here also is that the events that unfolded in Boulder happen almost routinely every single day in Chicago, a place with some of the most strictest regulations and control measures against people being able to defend themselves. But because the people there are of a certain race and it doesn't fit the narratives that the elites want to push on you, then of course the tragedies unfolding in Chicago largely get ignored. And that's some bullcrap, and that's some top-tier level hypocrisy that I just can't stand for. If you can't stand for it as well, share this video with your friends and family members, random strangers walking down the street. You bump into them in the supermarket. You're getting your groceries checked out. The store clerk's right there. You say, hey, you should go to WeAreChange.org. You should go to YouTube.com/WeAreChange. Hey, let me get your Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, doesn't matter. Double click that link. Send it to your friends. Send it to your family members. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. That's why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.